Curtis coming at you from Ace Spread Studios once again, covering the NFL 2021 season. As you all know, about a fancy cup in the middle here, I'm a Fins guy. But if you're a Fins guy, you also got to be an AFC East guy. I cover the Bills weekly. On occasion, I cover the Patriots. I really been wanting to cover them more because I'm a Mac Jones fan. Really knew, before even the draft, I knew he was going to the Patriots. And I really saw a lot out of this kid. I didn't see this much. So I really wanted to cover the Patriots as well. But time, energy for the old guy has been a little bit constricted. So today I'm going to take basically the Bills and the Patriots and put them in one podcast because as much as I hate to say it, in the offseason, through free agency and the draft, I never, despite all the talk about the Dolphins, I could never fully put my foot in the ground. The Dolphins were in second place vying for first. Unfortunately, shaped up worse than I thought. So really, the Dolphins and the Jets were the stepchilds, were the kind of the bottom of the basement. And after these big wins between the Bills and the Patriots over the Jets and the Browns, there's a collision course coming between these two franchises for dominance of the AFC East. And I also, in the offseason, talked about the back-to-the-past Patriots. I was highly intrigued with the approach they were taking because it wasn't the fun ball way that most teams were building or designing their offense or their entire team. And I really appreciated it. It was more old school and taking their own road to success in the NFL. And I was intrigued to see if it would pan out. I was actually hoping, as a football fan, it would, not as a Dolphins fan. It's panned out a little bit better than I thought it would, unfortunately for my Fins. So you have the Bills now, who obviously have the best quarterback, the most talented quarterback in the division. Unbelievable defense, incredible skills surrounding Allen, going against the Patriots, who are just deep on defense with many good players and an offensive line in the interior that's probably the best three in football. Edwin, returning of Trent Brown, and could be a very elite offensive line. Aiden, Harris, and Stevenson, they have the running backs. And there's some talent with Jonnu Smith and Hunter at tight end and Jacoby Myers and then, of course, Mac Jones. How much crow are all these pundits eating right now with the performance that Mac Jones is not lighting it up for huge amounts of yards. But for a rookie to manage to run an offense and be this efficient, and if you watch the games, you see this kid putting in some of the most accurate balls, not short, over the top, mid-range, and longer. This kid is serious business, and it's very scary for anyone's an AFC East fan. So I'm going to go over this coming collision, and even if you're not a fan of either of these teams, this is one good football story. And within 2 weeks, we're going to have the first matchup. And this is going to be such intriguing, exciting football. So I'm going to go over it. So the Bills, we all know, ripped apart the Jets 45-17. Mike White struggled. They were putting the ball up a lot. Had to. Bills kind of came out, put out points early. Pressure was on White. Some of them were his fault. Some of them were not. There's lots of drops, lots of penalties. Really put them in the hole. And so the Bills had bounced back from the loss the week before, but it wasn't just a typical drubbing. They changed a lot, and we'll go over that. Their style of play, which I've been saying is a more successful style of play for them. And they've shown that when they play that style, when they are more physical on the offense, they are brutal, and they wipe the floor with the Jets. And Jets had some good points to that, but this is not a Jets podcast right here, right now. So they got the Colts and Saints coming up before they meet the Patriots in Week 13. Now, for Bills fans, an interesting thing that I had spoke about in comments, I really didn't put it in the podcast, but if you look at the comments, I was wondering where Reggie Gilliam was, the fullback. I had seen him play like weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'd seen the physical offense, the running game, and how effective it was. And where was he? Because I think it was like basically 6 through 9, he disappeared. Well, they brought him back in Week 10 with 22 snaps, and he had effect. And so their formations, the week before, Week 9, where they got beat, 86% 3 wide and 14% 4 wide, and that was it. They changed it up. As I said, they brought Gilliam in, ran the ball more. Week 10, only 48% was 3 wide. They went 19% 2 personnel, 12 personnel, 26% 21 personnel, and then they used 3 other formations. And as I spoke with the Bills, one of the things that's critical for them is not to be predictable because they don't have the best offensive line. So they came up, they had Allen under center, they had him drop back in shotgun, they ran from under center, shotgun. They had multiple looks and multiple formations, and this is proving to be the formula. Weeks 1, Week 9, that formula does not work. So it's good to see again that they've learned from their lesson. Let's hopefully they continue to learn from it because when they do, they're very tough to beat. Now the Patriots, they beat the Browns, which was tougher competition. There was a lot of injuries on the Browns. But overall, this is a much better roster. I mean, a much better roster. But they beat them up 45-7. And, Browns came out, scored 7 points. But ultimately, the Patriots defense just beat them up. They were able to run the football. And Mac Jones made some great plays. And McDaniels just keeps proving the difference. There is a big difference between a great offensive coordinator and even a decent or a good one. And McDaniels and Mac were doing amazing. There was a sack, and the perfect call for that was a screen on the very next play, and they did it, and they picked up the first down. It was just an example of how well these two are working together. Now, the Browns were a tougher competition, and the next 2 weeks the Pats have to face the Falcons and at Titans. Now, Titans, if they had a full cast, would be a very tough game. And considering that if the Bills or the Patriots lose just one game, it's critical. Now, the Patriots always have in their hand as catching up. They can win 2 games. So they could essentially be 2 games down. If they win both their games, they'll win the tiebreaker. This is like a in case of emergency thing. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's really kind of there. Where, the Bills are in the lead. So if they can not lose any games and just split, they'll win. So I think really when you look at it, Bills have a little stiffer competition before they meet up. And another thing is that it's going to be a Monday night game, the first matchup in New England. So this kind of favors New England. The Week 16 is going to be in Buffalo. And then for further context, in between these 2 games, Bills will have to play Tampa and Carolina. And Carolina is not really but they've got a good defense. Now with Cam Newton, they could be formidable. This is a very stiff competition for the Bills, where the Patriots between their 2 games will have a bye and the Colts. So from a schedule standpoint, I think the Patriots have the edge as far as the easier schedule. And because they get to meet the Bills at home on a Monday night in their house, this kind of does put the cards. I think it's going to make it very critical for the Bills to win the next 2 games, obviously as the Patriots as well. Now, when you look at the 2 teams, things can change over the next 2 weeks. But as they are right now, the matchups in their current standings, yards per game, the Bills are 5th in the league and the Patriots 15th. The passing offense of the Bills is 6th and the Patriots 14th. Rushing offense, 10th for the Bills, 6th for the Patriots. Points per game, 2nd for the Bills, 6th for the Patriots. Really, there's a strong edge in every category as far as the offense goes. Now, even a turnover differential between the two teams, plus 14 for the Bills and plus 3 for the Patriots. Takeaways, 24 for the Bills, 17 for the Patriots. Now, defensive yards allowed per game. 1st for the Bills, 14th for the Patriots. Passing D, 2nd for the Bills, 8th for the Patriots. Rushing defense, 3rd for the Bills, 88 yards per game, 14th for the Patriots, 107. Point differential, 1st and 2nd. Special teams play I'm going to throw in here, just the punting aspect. The one little edge the Patriots do have is they're 2nd in the league in punting, where the Bills are 13th. And the Bills have become sloppy over the last 6 weeks or so, since the Kansas City game. And that's concerned me. Bills fans, they know I watch, they see, and I said, they now over 9 games have 84 penalties. 64 total. A bunch of them, were declined, but 84 total. Where the Patriots have 1 extra game at 10, and they only have 63 total with 58 after declined penalties. So this wild card aspect is what the Patriots, from a statistical standpoint, have the edge at. The special teams punting, which will help the defense, and the wild card of discipline. Every other category, the Bills are just really far ahead. So from just a basic standpoint of what's being put on the field, the Bills have a strong advantage. But, again, we have to remember, Patriots are fielding a rookie on offense, and this does skew things because if you look, they've been steadily growing, both on offense and defense. I still would say the talent edge, high point talent marker still goes to the Bills. For me, that 3rd ranked rushing defense of the Bills is going to make or break the game. If the Patriots can't run the football, it's going to be very, very difficult. And in the flip side, if they can run the football against the Bills, this is going to be a great edge and could be the impetus, the mojo to get them to take on a more talented high point team and win. This is going to be an exciting matchup. And when you look at the interior matchups of the players themselves, it makes it all the more intriguing, amazing, exciting. I mean, this is just what football's all about. The dominance of that A gap, the dominance of the A and B gap between the hashes. I mean, this is really the heart of football, and it's really going to be an unbelievable matchup. Now, Allen, his over-completion percentage is 1.8, which is under what he did last year. He's underperforming in the sense that he's not elevating the offense like he was last year. Still pretty good. He's, I think, top 10 or 12 in the league. He's got 99.6 quarterback rating. Time to throw is 2.87, so he's in the pocket long. I think he was pretty much the same as last year. He likes to hold the ball, and he can because he's big, strong, and fast, and he can buy time. And then you add all these plays around him: Diggs, Beasley, Knox on defense, Poyer and Hyde. Probably the best 2 safety combo in the league. Taron Johnson at cornerback is playing incredible. Milano, Klein, Edmonds. That linebacker core is very good. And I would say it's equal or maybe has the edge over the Patriots. When I really like the way what the Patriots did with Judon. But this is a really good interior. Then you see Oliver. Oliver was just, the passer. But he's even picked up his play on the run defense. Espinoza, Rousseau, they kind of tailed off a little bit, but still playing really well. Jerry Hughes, the ageless one, still ridiculous as far as ability to generate pressure. Drafted in 2010. And then this is the guy that really is going to be the focus for the game for me. Harrison Phillips, the defensive tackle, he's like 307. Not a big guy, but he's really dominated from a run-stopping position for the last week 6 to 10. And given what the Patriots have on their interior with Onwenu and Andrews and a Mason, probably the best interior three, his play is going to be critical along with Oliver and obviously Edmonds. That's really going to be the focus. I think that's going to really determine the game. But now you look at like the Patriots. They are I've talked to so many Patriots fans in the offseason, and I was surprised at how many of them said this was going to be a rebuilding season. And I said, no, man. I think guys are ready to go. I'm not saying going to be a Super Bowl or anything like that, but this team has built so well. And when I go over all these names for a team that was supposedly dead in the water, it's impressive. Mac Jones, rookie, who people said, maybe shouldn't even get drafted in the first round. His overcompletion percentage is 2.6%, and he is one of the top 8, maybe I think, in the league. Quarterback rating of 94. Time to throw 2.63, getting the ball out of his hand quick. A lot of that is McDaniels. When you study the Patriots' offensive play design and play calls, they're just so meticulous. McDaniels has mastered this offensive scheme. It shows. You can see the way they design, the way he's got a feel for the offense is very, very impressive. I like Dable, but Dable's had a couple of big hiccups. When he's on, he's brilliant, but he gets these like hiccup things. But McDaniels has been pretty steady throughout the season. Now, like I said, the most critical difference, I think, between the two teams is going to be those offensive lines. And to me, offensive line is the most critical position in the game. And when you add, left tackle win, Mason, left guard, Andrews, Onwenu at right guard, then you bring in Trent Brown at right tackle. This is very, very scary because when you control the line of scrimmage, you control the game. And they have the capacity to do that, especially when Trent Brown's in. When he's not, it can kind of get iffy. Kendrick Bourne was a good pickup. He's been a big play guy. He's had some big games. Jacoby Myers, very slow and steady. Hunter Henry and Jonnu getting that 2 tight end thing. So the potential's there to kind of be a death by 1,000 cuts. They don't have the talent like Diggs and Beasley and Emmanuel and Knox that the Bills have. But these guys are no slouches either. Then on defense, you got Jackson Williams, Duggar, who I really liked last year. He's kind of stepping up a little bit. Big dude, man, just like an extra linebacker. Phillips, McCourty, and then Judon. I love Judon, man. The name is fantastic. It's like a superhero name. And then, Van Noy, who my team just decided to get rid of. I don't know. He would have helped him a lot. He's having a bounce-back year. Wise Jr. and Hightower's come back to fill that role of the run stop. And that's really what the Patriots believe, running the football and stopping the run, being big on critical downs. So he really helps out in so much. But to me, the game, you're going to have the quarterbacks, but it's going to be those offensive lines and the running backs on both sides. And for all you'll say is about Damian Harris, he gets a lot of love. Moss from the Bills is a powerful dude and an exceptional runner. And if you go check his running efficiency, it's the highest by a decent margin of all the backs involved. Now, I like Singletary too a lot, but they're a little limited. They only got 2 really. Breida is nice, but I watched him on the Dolphins last year. He's very limited back. All speed. Lacks lateral, little finessey inside. Okay, third. He could make big plays for you. But if one of the main backs go down, then all of a sudden the playbook gets constricted because he's only capable of doing certain things. So Moss and Singletary are really, really good. But that's the only 2 of them. Conversely, if Harris comes back healthy, of course, you got Harris, Stevenson, Bolden, White, and Taylor. And all these guys are capable of doing a lot of stuff and really with those 5 backs, they can wear on the Bills' defense. And this is why I think the heart of the game is going to be those trenches, not the quarterback play as much at all, really. I mean, it's going to play, obviously, a major part. But those offensive lines and be able to run that football is going to set the tone for the game. And I can't wait. To me, offensive line play and running the football is football. I mean, I like quarterbacks and all that stuff. Always have. But running the football is what it's all about. And I was getting nervous for a long time. A lot of people telling me, man, running backs, the salaries are going down. It's kind of going away to dodo. But I don't think so. And I think the Patriots are proving you can still have a pocket passer. You can still be old school, quote unquote, style of football and win. And I think when you watch even the Bills with all that talent and that unbelievable quarterback, when they get to the fun ball look, they struggle. And so this is where it's at. These two teams have built excellent. All the other teams in the division should look at the Patriots and look at the Bills and say, this is how you build. I wish my Dolphins would. Excellent GMs, excellent coaches, just the styles, the way they build everything has been very, very coherent. And if you're a football fan, these are must-watch games. Hopefully, both the Bills and the Patriots win the next 2. This way, this Monday night game is going to be high on rocket fuel. So this is Curtis saying, congratulations to the Bills. Congratulations to the Patriots. You have franchises that are excellent to be proud of. And both of you are setting the high mark, the example for the Jets and the Dolphins. It's not going to be easy for the Jets and the Dolphins to rise out. It's not going to be just the Bills now. It's going to be the Bills and the Patriots. So congratulations to both your fan bases. Can't wait to study the game, watch the film. This is Curtis saying thank you for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments mean a lot. I hear a lot from Bills fans. I haven't done some videos on Patriots for a while. I really want to hear what you guys have to say because I am geeked up for this battle on Monday night. So subscribes and likes help us stay in business. Keeps the Google overlords happy and keeps us in business. I want to give a shout out to Ace Barrett, our sponsor. Without them, none of this would happen. They are the best online sports book in the world. They want to let you know with their world-class software, you can get on the action with friends, family, and coworkers as a local bookie. Without them, this wouldn't happen. Without you awesome viewers and all your awesome comments, it wouldn't happen. So between the two of you, I'm very lucky. So this is Curtis saying, thank you for staying to the end. Catch you next time. And be well.